got a good group this week.
We do.
Great, well welcome. My name's Ian. I'm what they call the market coordinator for the Albany Farmers Market, and it's great to have you here. Hope you've all had a great week down in the Great Southern. I won't talk for long, so Nicole will shut me up. She's heard it before. She'll correct me if I say anything wrong.
You've changed your story.
But I will just give you a brief rundown of the market, and then I'm very happy to answer any questions, because that may be how you might get the information you want. Just a little bit of history. The market's been going for 12 and a half years now. It took about a year to get the market going, and that came through a whole group of people. There were farmers and health professionals, interested community members who, we're talking about 2001 into 2002, and that was at a time when there was the start of farmers markets over the eastern states. People had travelled overseas and seen markets, which of course markets have been going for hundreds of years in many European areas, but certainly they're big in North America. And the farmers also themselves thinking, well, we do all this farming, and it could be whether they're growing potatoes or lettuces, or farming cattle, pigs or sheep, or dairy in any way. We're doing all this, and they love doing it. But the end story was that they work on their farm, they pile it all onto a truck, they wave it goodbye out the gate, and they never see what happens to it after that. Not only don't they see what happens to it, they don't know how it's taken care of, because it goes all the way to Perth. And this is what was happening. It was going all the way to Perth, to the general markets. They had no control over the price, because it's all through agents, it's market forces, whatever the market will buy their strawberries for that week. And then lo and behold, within a week, it's on a truck coming back to Albany again, and it's on the supermarket shelves. Some did have farm gate sales, but they're fairly labour intensive if you're trying to do farming. So becoming aware that markets were happening in other places, and people did some research. Cut a long story short, they got together and decided that they would have a go at holding a weekly farmers market, because we are in a very rich horticultural area, especially the coastal plain. The further inland, the harder it gets, but they have their specific crops and fruits and vegetables that do grow up there, but mainly on the coastal plain. And the market made some rules for itself first of all. They didn't want it to become a general trinket, art, craft or anything else. Not that I'm knocking any of that. They wanted it to be focused on food. They took advice and they wanted to keep it a food market, a farmer's market. So the main criteria for this market is that you have to farm in the Great Southern region. You're most probably aware of what the Great Southern encompasses. It's about 10 shires. You have to farm, you have to grow it yourself, or rear it, or catch it, or whatever it may be. So it's got to be your product. You can only come to market with what you have actually grown yourself. There is a slight leeway in the market for one or two stalls that might be seen as manufacturing stalls rather than straight farmer stalls. One of those is a bread stall, but he is a real baker. He's not a hot bread box man. He actually does make everything himself. He does buy local flour where possible. The other exception to the rule is the coffee store. And whilst it's locally, you can say, oh, it's locally roasted coffee. That was made an exception because, hey, let's be sensible about it. Everybody needs a drink, and not everybody wants to drink dandelion coffee.
So Ian,
but everything else you will see is grown here, is sold by either the farmer themselves or somebody who's close to their family or somebody who works for them.
So is that unique to Albany Farmers Market, Ian? Is that unique to the Albany Farmers Market?
Yes, almost.
In WA it is, isn't it?
In WA, there's one in many markets they maybe started off that way. Now you can yeah, you get on-selling, you get stuff from outside, but Albany has not deviated from that, which gives Albany a good reputation, but also gives it a bad reputation, type of thing, you know, you can't get in there. Well, it's simply defined. You've got to farm and bring it, you know, and grow it yourself. Otherwise, what's the difference between here and getting it from a supermarket? Because if you become it's not a retail market in the sense that you're a retailer, you're a seller of what you grow yourself. And that is the important difference. And there's one or two markets that do that. Many, you have been to most probably many in Perth, and I'm not knocking the ones in Perth, that they have a more difficult job, but they will often take anything from anywhere. And then they have rules, well, if we haven't got oranges in, we can bring them in from South Australia and all that sort of stuff. Well, yeah, okay, but that rather defeats what the market's all about. And look, it's quietening down now. It's been very busy for the first 2 hours. The next 2 hours will be like this. I don't know how many, we've got about 26 stalls here today, and that's grown from about 10 or 11 in the first year. You can buy everything that you want for every meal of the week that you want to cook for. We're not heavily into, the farmers aren't encouraged to value add their own product. So you'll see this vegetable farmer here also has his wife makes a whole range of pickles and sauces. The organic farmer next door, they make a pasta sauce out of their tomatoes and onions, and so it's actually providing them with an additional income stream, which is actually quite valuable when maybe they haven't got that mainstream crop going. So that's how it's grown over the years, and the market has grown over the years. In terms of turnover, it's grown hugely. The market has grown hugely in number of stalls. The variety has grown most probably by a good 50, even more percent than what was originally on offer. The customer base, we have a very, very loyal local customer base who really do come here. You know, we offer music and coffee and somewhere to sit, but the main thing we offer is actually to come and do your shopping, and they do come and do their shopping. So the first 2 hours, they're not here with just one green bag, they're here with 4 or 5 because they are buying everything for the week. And you may think, well, why buy everything one week, one keep? Because the common thing you hear is because we're not involved in shelf life in terms of things have to be picked and have to be go to market and then keep in there. Like strawberries have to have a shelf life of at least 2 weeks if the supermarket is going to buy them. Well, their strawberries were picked 2 days ago. They most probably haven't got a shelf life at that time. If you look after them, they most probably got a shelf life of maybe a week because they're actually ripe. And that is the most common thing you hear from our customers is the quality of the product and how well it keeps. I don't need to buy any peas this week because I've still got a bag from last week and they're still as good as the time I put them in the fridge. And that's here time and time again. We're very popular with people from Perth. They like us. They come down here, and now the regular visitors who come from Perth all come with eskies, not only for themselves but for their neighbours as well, and they shop up before they go back home. And we're big on we attract the tourist trade because they do get a real taste of what the farming community down here produces. In many of the stalls you can actually taste what they're producing, whether it be cheeses. These people here last week had a huge drum of tiny carrots. They pulled up all the carrots and they got lots of babies. So the market was full of kids this high and old ladies on Zimmer frames all walking around eating a carrot. Great. Everybody loves a fresh carrot. Got a bit of dirt on it, so what, So it's a valuable source of income for the farmer. Some are large farming enterprises, some are small. It's held every week, summer or winter. Obviously seasonal, so people are educated to what's in season. Now's a pretty good time of the year. Summer fruits and veggies are coming in, but it still keeps going. It doesn't matter if it's 40 degrees on this tarmac or it's hailing and blowing a gale. That they are here, and hopefully our customers are here as well. Well, maybe that's enough for me. Is there any questions that I haven't covered? Because there's heaps I haven't covered. Yes.
Is there a seafood market in Albany?
There is a boat shed market tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock down on the foreshore, who has a very good fisherman there, and they also have oysters and mussels and things like that. That's an indoor market. It's in the boat shed. They are more diverse. They have art and craft, and it's very much a social occasion. They always have live music inside, and it's a really nice place to go and have coffee and sit by the harbour. We at the moment don't have any seafood. I've lived in Albany since before you were born, and I have been in the food business for all that long in some shape or form, and I won't go into the getting fresh seafood and getting fresh fish has always been, and it still is. So at the moment we do have marron, yabbies, we have mussels, fish, crab, lobster and everything. At the moment we don't have them because the fishermen are too busy spending their fishing profits elsewhere.
Yes, for the fish market as well, is it the same regulation as here? Like it's only for the local fishermen or something like that?
The other market?
Yeah, the fish market.
Yes, similar.